came to the lower school is I wanted to make an impact on the foundation. Once a student is in 9th or 10th grade, you kind of lost the ability to make changes in the foundational processes of growing up. They're grown up. They are fully formed adults in a lot of ways. So my goal in coming to the lower school was to be able to make an impact while students could still make a mid-course correction and turn into somebody that they wouldn't have turned into had the educators around them not had a philosophy of what I'll call independence. One of the key things that I noticed with parents, and I have to confess to all of you that I was probably the worst example of a parent ever with my first child, who's now 21, and I didn't find out just how bad I was until he went to college, and first semester everything was fine because there was lots of people hovering around to make sure these freshmen were doing okay. But the minute the people who were hovering pulled back, my son could not handle difficult situations. For example, he didn't get the courses that he signed up for, because he was a freshman. And so what he had to do was go from class to class, classes that had already begun, and crash the class. That's what it's called. And then while he was crashing, at the end of the class, he had to go up to the teacher and say, "I didn't get this class, may I please stay?" This was virtually impossible for him to master. He had to keep doing it until he had 4 classes. And he developed this huge anxiety that he wasn't going to get 4 classes, and that he was going to then be kicked out of the school because he would no longer be a full-time student. Okay? So I had to look at myself. I obviously didn't give him the skills he needed to deal with any conflictual situation. Okay? So I want to make sure that when your kids eventually go to college, they have a great first year. But more than that, I want them to have a life in which they feel completely capable to address the obstacles that will come before them. So, we decided that the faculty who I've been speaking to, who I'm just going to say seem to have it together in terms of how to teach students to be independent, and Amanda, who's been saying this all along, we decided to come together and share with you kind of the things that we notice about those students who seem to sail through when an obstacle comes. They don't freak out and develop, a panic disorder. Okay? So the way we're going to do this is we are going to have a conversation in front of you, and just for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, Amanda will tell us to stop, and we'll let you engage with us. But I'm going to ask the question that I ask teachers all the time to these people, and I'll participate in the conversation. And the question is, what do you see that your highly successful students have in common? If you think about your successful students over the years that you've been teaching, the ones that really pop out as your superstars, what is it that they seem to share? What is it? So we had this conversation many, many, many times, and we're going to have it again in front of you because we don't want to hold back. Okay? We're also going to share the converse. What do the students who struggle have in common? Okay? This is not personal. We barely know your kid, most of your kids yet. It's really good. So we're not talking about your kids or you, okay? We're talking about
Thank you.
other parents. Okay? Does that help? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Jean Olson, and I always criticize people who don't introduce right to start. This is Jean Olson. She teaches 2nd grade, Dr. Olson, and Sandy Russ, who I think you all know, who is our kindergarten teacher. Amanda Miriam, who is our school counselor, and I'm Laura Roth. And I'm going to do this really quickly because we're limited in time. If you have a TK student, raise your hand. Hands down. Kindergarten. Great. 1st grade. second grade. See how it starts to get hopeless. Third grade. Fourth grade. Okay, right. Now this is actually just for TK through second. But I'm glad there are some people that have other kids as well. Okay, so what do your successful students have in common? If you think back on the ones that really stick out in your mind, and this is one of the things we discovered, there aren't that many that really stick out as superstars. There's like a bunch that are clumped that are together that are not superstars. Remember, it's not about your kids.
No, but I don't agree with you. There are the kids that are the superstars, but they may have, I mean, you can't just label a kid one thing.
Sure.
We look at the whole child. And sometimes we notice that the kids are anxious. We understand parents bringing their kids into TK or kindergarten or when your kids are starting school. Obviously you're going to be anxious about it. However, we feel that maybe at times that anxiety is transferring to your child. And that's when we see a child who's being anxious, they want to do their best and they're scared of failing. So the parents are, what did you do today? What did you learn today?
So what
They're
do
on top of it.
successful students have in common?
So the successful students would have parents that are trusting the teacher who they're sending their child to. And the children are coming into school, the parents may be feeling anxious, the successful student is not feeling that anxiety, and the parents are feeling a sense of trust. You're handing your children over to those teachers, to the school, and you want to trust the school. You've chosen the school for a reason. So you need to trust that the school is going to perform and deliver what they have promised. And so that's, I feel, relaxed parents or sense of being relaxed children.
And sometimes you have to fake it. Because you're not relaxed really, and you're not feeling calm, but you don't want to share that with your kids.
I always think that when it comes to anxiety, the umbilical cord is still attached. The child drinks what you drink. So if you have those anxious feelings, you are passing them on to your child. So as long as, I mean, it's okay for you to feel anxious. This is a new experience for a lot of you to have your kids in school, but you need to fake it till you make it.
Your kids look to you
Trust
to
us.
be an anchor.
Right.
Think of yourselves as an anchor. The water is splashing and there are waves and the kid is like, "Ah!" like going with the wind. And then they look at you and they want you to be the anchor, whether you feel like an anchor or not. Maybe you're flowing in the wind also. But when you remind yourself, I'm supposed to be the anchor, it's very, very helpful.
I think along with reminding that it's easy to say I'm supposed to, but something that I think many of us have found extremely helpful is truly just breathing in the idea of breathing in trust and breathing out distrust. And as you breathe in that trust, take a look around you at who you're handing off your children to, and you realize that there is tremendous trust there to hand your children off to. And by you being able to just take in that breath and realize that and let go of that anxiety, that will calm you. And just like Amanda said, with the umbilical cord, it's going to go right through to your child. That calm is going to make all the difference in the world to your child stepping into and over to meeting new friends, meeting your teacher, engaging in new settings, new situations, make a huge difference.
There's more seats up here.
A way that you can really help your children is by giving them responsibilities at home. Letting them try things. Letting them try new things. You may feel that they can't do something and you immediately do it for them. Maybe you're in a rush, obviously. You know, everyone's in a rush and trying to get somewhere, and then you start doing it for your child. The child actually, when they take responsibility for getting themselves dressed in the morning, maybe helping pack the snack, when they start taking these responsibilities seriously, you can see those children doing it in the classroom as well. They kind of feel much more confident, and they've got an enhanced self-esteem.
May I give an example when you're done? Okay, so I have a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old. This past year, I went through a difficult time. So all of a sudden, I wasn't available to my 17-year-old in the same way that I am usually available. What can I do for you? Can I help you? You didn't do your homework yet. Can I quiz you? Can I do this? Because I had, and this is really important, I had a parent that was not there for me at all. She was completely absent. She was an alcoholic. She wasn't there. So when I was growing up, I swore I was going to be the parent that was always there. So I am. But something happened in my life that did not allow me to focus on my kid. So my kid has to write an essay for college because he's going to be a senior this summer. And he writes an essay that goes like this. My mom suddenly wasn't there for me, and I had to do things that I never had to do all by myself. And the strangest thing happened. I started to feel more confident and more happy. And this happiness started to bleed over to my friendships. A second thing happened. I didn't want to go home anymore. It wasn't fun at home. Mom wasn't baking cookies. So at the end of the day, I was searching for somebody to spend time with and to go somewhere else. So I started to gain more confidence. I started to feel happier, and I was able to start to take risks with friends. My son traditionally has struggled making friends. So out of this really negative situation, which I thought was horrific, he built his confidence, and he says he's happier today than he was before the bad thing happened. I know that this is hard to believe. Shake your head if this makes it all any sense.
Just so you know, they wiggle this way, they don't wiggle this way.
Chair, that's pretty helpful. That's just that great thing to see. Yeah, whichever side you're on.
You're breaking all records. We've never gotten more than 12 people at a time. And I thought we were going to rattle around in the NPR.
Apologies for those of you who are in the NPR. We thought Dora caught everyone at the front door. So I think we've got some more stools up there. I want to just make sure everyone has a seat. This is can be a stool. If you want
So what I was just going to say was confidence and contributing is one of the basic human needs. So if we as parents are doing everything for our children, they're not able to feel that value, that confidence, and then they're not going to be anxious because they're not either because they're not doing things at home. So they don't have that feeling of self-worth. So asking your kids to do chores is probably one of the most important things. You're giving your child the ability to show you that they are confident.
And also to involve them in some of the decision making. So they feel that they've contributed to the choice to what you're doing. Now, not to let them make the ultimate decision either. I mean, that lies with the parents. But let them be involved in decision making, maybe with the shopping list, or giving their opinion, making a decision, and going with it. They feel valued. And then they'll come in, and in the classroom, they'll offer suggestions, their hands are up, and they're participating because they feel confident, and they also feel that they can make mistakes, it's okay, because they've been involved in decision making, they've been involved in saying, oh, we can't do that right now, maybe we'll do it another time. So they know that it's not just about instant gratification, but they can help make decisions in the running of your house or in the chores that they may choose to do.
Along with that is the idea of your child being heard. Oftentimes thinking that we know best, it goes back on to imposing upon what we think is best upon our students. So consequently, by being able to ensure that they have that voice with choice, obviously often with parameters, boundaries, and that choice may be, would you like this or this? As we pack
We've all heard that one.
Yes.
That's a big one. How many
Yes.
people here already know that, you give them a choice? If they want to get dressed in the morning and they're always fighting, you say, here are 2 things you could wear. You can wear this, or you can wear that. How many people already know that one? That's like a
You
no-brainer.
have 2 choices that you're okay with. You want to be okay with the choices.
And they want the third option that is not available.
Right.
That happens.
Yeah. Then you pick for them.
Yeah, I want to choose, I want to choose, that's fine.
So, there's so much more to say. I want to stop. It's probably been 10 minutes. Any reactions to what we've been saying? Feel free to disagree. Feel free to give examples from your own life if this connects with things you're saying.
What kind of chores, I'm interested, like obviously child labor laws, right? I'm not gonna do anything. But I mean, I definitely do 99% for my child, my parents did for me, and I turned out okay. But I never knew how to do laundry before I started college, so I really.
I hated you.
Fantastic.
I did, because I had to laundry since I was 7, and nobody knew how, and they were all relying on me to do laundry. I'm like, screw you guys, I'm gonna teach you how to do laundry. You should have been doing it since you were 7.
Right.
But we all grew up differently.
Correct.
So what's an appropriate chore?
What's an
That
appropriate?
is a great question. Keeping their own room straightened up.
Okay.
Putting things away. There's 2 kinds of parents. The parents who insist the kids put away what they play with, and the kind of parents who says, we're not gonna play because then I'm gonna have to clean it up, so let's sit here. I used to not want to play with my kids because I knew I'd have to clean up. I never thought for a second that my kids were supposed to clean up. I'm just saying, I get you guys.
There's also simple things you can do with your kids after dinner. You can say, we're all going to bring our dishes to the sink together. You're gonna help me load the dishwasher. Make it something that seems kind of enjoyable, not be like, oh, I hate this is the worst. You want to, even though sometimes it is, you want your kids to do it with you. Make it fun. with them.
Setting the table.
Set the table.
That's
And
a
the
really good one.
reward for doing that is setting the table and is packing the dishwasher. There's no rewards. If you do this, then you'll get that.
Exactly.
They don't need rewards. The reward is the fact that they can do it, they can participate,
Increase
and they
confidence.
feel good about it. Because I can tell you, whatever they're doing at home, they will come into the classroom and they learn how to clean up after themselves, and they're really happy about it. And there's
She
not
makes them do it.
in fact, tell them they can come home with me.
But I guess that another thing is, like, I know if I'm filling something up and she wants to help me with the pitcher, and I know that the water is gonna go on the floor and I'm about to have to
So
clean it
what
up.
can you do? Let's solve this
Well,
problem.
I'm listening to you, and I just said to
Put the
Juliana,
cup
maybe
in the
I
sink.
just,
No, just put the cup in the sink. Get your
What you're
kid on
saying is
a
you do it for
stool.
her because you don't want her to swim.
correct, but I think when I'm hearing you, maybe I'd fill it up a little bit and say, you do, then you do it, and just don't fill it up
Or
to the
put it
top.
in the
because
sink.
I-
But if she does spill, is that a big deal if she does spill? Then will she learn how to go and get a rag or paper
You know
towel
what,
and clean
it's
it up?
really, it
No,
isn't
we're
a
gonna
big
yell at
deal. It really isn't a big deal, I'm trying to prevent an issue, but it isn't a big deal, you're right, it's really not a big deal.
Trying to prevent an issue. Just heard of a lawnmower mom, lawnmower dad, okay? That was me. Get out in front of your kids and mow down any obstacle that could possibly, potentially, maybe have been there, okay? That's worse than a helicopter mom. I'm afraid to say, and that's what I was, because I can feel my kids' anxiety before they could, so they never felt it, so they never had to fix it. If that's what you want for your kids, on going.
I think
I mean,
that
really.
in that particular instance though, because the pitcher is heavy also, doing it together. In the same, but saying, you know, it is heavy, you can do it. So, and then, or if you have a smaller pitcher, fine. But, and again, it's that judgment call, is this something that really, there's the tools and the strength to be able to do it at this time, or can we do it together?
And you're right, it's not such a big deal if the water spills, you can clean it up. Because
Yeah.
for the idea of wanting to give them the confidence and the ability to do
Absolutely.
things on their own. I'm hearing you.
It's giving them coping skills.
Right.
You're like giving them skills of if something goes wrong, and that's really not really wrong, but in their mind, oh, still. But it's giving them coping skills, and you're giving them coping skills at each level. You're developing want to know where they're going to be as adults. How are they going to cope with adversity? So you're giving them skills all along, and they're building on those skills, and they can cope with what's given to them. They're not going to collapse, I can't do it. They will try.
Things are gonna spill all the time. They're gonna forget things, they're gonna mess things up. You want them to learn those things now and how to handle those feelings.
Help you cook. What do your kids want more than anything in the entire world? Someone say it. What do they want? To spend time with you, not me, you. This is the way you get to spend time with your kids. Through collaborative, making the house run well. That's how you do it. Now, there are certain cultures where this is a no-brainer. Then there's us. There's the Americans, where, you know, it seems to be very black and white. This is like a way to have your time with your kids and have it be productive so you don't feel like you're wasting time. Which so many parents are thinking the whole time they're playing with their kids. I'm going to remember all the things I have to do after this. You know, but now this is a chance for you to do together.
Can I just say something too? Deborah, like if Pace brings something and he spills it,
Yes,
he just knows that he gets a napkin and cleans it up.
okay.
It's his responsibility. He knows that now, because things are always gonna spill. And he just, that's his job. If it spills, it's an accident, it's okay, not a big deal, but he needs to clean it.
So raise your
he says
hand
to
if
you,
your parents yell
You're
at
gonna
you
be
if you
towel
spilled
then. He
something.
knows that he's gonna have.
Yeah, he says, Mommy, what napkin or paper, exactly.
Raise your hand if you had a parent who yelled at you when you spilled something. Okay, so we're a little phobic. Okay, and that, I mean, it's kind of weird that there aren't that many.
So that transfers into the classroom. That transfers into the classroom because kids are scared to make mistakes. We find a lot of kids, they're not risk takers, they don't want to take the challenge, they're nervous, they sit with an eraser in their head. Because maybe they're scared, maybe they were yelled at for making mistakes, they're not even yelled at, just a look, or did you do it like that, or is that your writing? Frustration, and then they're like frozen in their seats, they're not self-starters, you know, you'll see the kids who come in and they've been given an assignment and they pick up their pencil, their crayon, and they go for it. And they make a mistake, that's okay, you know, and so you can see those kids who've got the confidence to actually do things, make mistakes, and continue and try again. And that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for improvement and for children to work on things until they feel good about it. And they happy with it. Not to be the best or the most. I just feel
We've
good.
got lots of reading for you on this topic. I want to say something about the dark side of parenting, which is having to tolerate watching your kids struggle. And the pain that we feel when, I mean, maybe it hasn't happened yet, but one day your child will come home and say, nobody wants to play with me, you know? You just want to go and, you know, mow down all those little kids and say, you can't play with my child, you know? Like, you just can't deal with it. So why is that so difficult? I'm asking you a question now. Why is it so difficult for us to tolerate our kids going through painful experiences?
Because we love them. We want the best for them.
If you knew that the best for them was to say things like, I know you'll figure it out, and this is temporary. I know. It's so hard. See, I watched faces when I said that. I know you'll figure out this feeling you're having is temporary. What is the typical thing that happens? What happens when, if you
Make
found
new
out that your
friends.
kid had no friends,
I'd
what
say
would you
make new
do?
friends, look for other friends.
You just casually say, look for other friends.
Usually
You wouldn't be
I get a
talking to
call.
us.
Other friends.
Call us Amanda.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and I usually get calls.
We have to rush in and fix it. And by rushing in and fix it, they still don't know how to make friends. Because we fixed it. I see a lot of heads nodding, so I think we're maybe reaching you. The highly successful kids have something that a lot of you have asked for. When I interview parents on the way into TVT, I ask one question, the same question to every parent, and that is, if I can tell you your child can have one thing at the end of the year, what would you want that one thing to be? And 9 out of 10 times, the answer is confidence. You remember? Every parent says confidence. And this is how to do it. But when you over-parent and over-protect and over-problem solve and do for your kids, you're ripping them off of a chance to gain that confidence. Because how do we get confidence? We struggle hard, we master something, and we feel like, oh, a job well done. And then we feel really happy. When we do it for kids, we don't give them that opportunity.
So what do you tell the parent? The child comes home, somebody's mean to me, this one didn't want to play with me. What am I saying?
Amanda's gonna role play with you.
I get this all the time because, so I'll give you a little background.
Are you gonna see many of your miss? Forget it out there.
Oh,
You don't have
I'm
to.
from Connecticut, so it's over. I'm from the East Coast too.
Okay.
So my first year here, I was solving a lot of problems for kids, and then I would have a line on my door every single day. And I was realizing that I was not giving them any skills, so I completely changed what I would do. So I'm gonna do that with you. Show you. Okay, so I will be you. You wanna be your daughter?
All right.
Okay.
I'll be Maddie. So she'll come up, Mom, I had a really good day at school. I did pictures and whatever. And this little girl that I was playing with, she hit me, and this one bit me, and
I tell you, the JCC.
actually it happened at the JCC.
You're up at the JCC.
It happened at the JCC.
We don't traditionally do that. You get to bite it.
We're hoping that it doesn't happen here. I think I'm putting it out there right now. We're hoping that it does not happen here. Because my daughter, because I'm very sweet and I don't like to hit other children, and I get very sad, Mommy, when other children don't want to play with me.
Oh, that sounds really hard. So I'm actually just gonna concentrate on that when other children don't wanna play with me, because the hitting and the biting thing, we would need.
Doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen here, and we would bring an adult.
I'm
in.
retracting that
Yeah.
statement then. They were nice to me, they didn't want to play with me, I didn't play with them.
Okay, so first I empathize, so that's really hard. What do you think you should do?
You're mad.
Maybe I should play with other children.
Okay, so you could play with other children, how do you think that would work? What would
I
happen?
don't know.
Okay, so let's think about it. If you went to play with another child, what do you think would happen?
I don't know.
Well, let's think about what some other kids have tried in situations like this. So, I think you could, one option is like what you said, you could go up to other kids and ask if you could play. Another option would be going up to a teacher and letting them know, and maybe they can tell you a kid who they see who maybe needs some other kids to play, and then you can go up to them. How do you think that would work?
That would be good. So you're gonna talk to my teacher?
You can talk to your teacher, because I know you can do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk to my teacher and tell them somebody is maybe not wanting to play with me, or maybe they could suggest another friend for me.
Right, and then your teacher is gonna help you maybe point out another student who also needs another friend, and you're gonna go and try and be friends with that person.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Because usually what I will say is just, and maybe you can give me some for the other parents in here, but like when the child's not nice with my daughter, I will say just stay away from them.
So that's another, so
I don't know if I'm saying the wrong thing.
That's a natural
Yeah.
thing to say.
But is that wrong to do that because she'll come home the next day and
So,
say, oh,
what-
so-and-so is nice to
That
me?
would be, what do you think you should
Right.
do.
So also, let me just preface that normally, I think with TK, kids are learning social skills, so that's why I mentioned the teacher.
Yes.
Once you get to kindergarten, first and second grade, your kids are gonna have those skills probably without bringing the teacher in. TK, they're negotiating, they're learning. The teacher is gonna help them identify those students. So I just wanted to make that clear that that was the suggestion for a TK student. So going back to what Laura was saying was ask questions. What do you think you should do? And then if she says, I don't know, say, well, you start coming up with things. What if you did this? What would that look like?
So you're empowering the child.
Exactly. And what if they make the wrong decision? That's okay, because you want them to learn from that. If you tell them what to do, if you're like, oh, you need to do that, you must do that, and they do it and they're successful, you kind of stole all the learning from them. They're like, oh, my mom's the one who knows all the answers again. You want them to pick which one to go do it and see if it works or if it doesn't. If it doesn't work, then we'll try something else.
I think another part of that is to unpack what wasn't nice. Because it may be that what just wasn't nice for them. It may be, well, they decided they wanted to go play basketball. Is that what you wanted to play? No? So really that you wanted to go build with blocks, but
Okay.
they wanted to do this. So it looks like you were looking for someone to build with blocks. How could you do that?
Right, because a lot of times she didn't want to do it, I wanted to do it, right? So it's not that we try.
And that is the most common thing you see. It's not that they don't have a friend, they just don't have a friend they can boss around them, right?
Like mother, like daughter. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
There's one other thing, observation that we have had, and this is gonna sound strange, but we have noticed a good number of parents who seem to be afraid of their children. Afraid of their own children. What does that look like? Someone here tell me what that looks like.
A child saying, a parent saying, can you get your lunchbox?
No,
I'm not gonna get my lunchbox, you get my lunchbox. Oh, okay.
everybody does
The
that.
majority of people.
They're afraid of being embarrassed by their children as well. Or afraid of if they do step in at that point and say there's going to be a consequence for your behavior, then the child will throw a fit or start screaming and worse. They feel that's embarrassing. Sandra.
As an administrator, sometimes we see it as, this is how I hear the fear, I don't want to deal with the meltdown. Could you do it? Could you have your teacher do it? To me, that's an example of being scared of parents. When I hear, I don't want to deal with the meltdown.
Exactly. That's it.
Right.
Today's parents avoid conflict with their kids. They're scared of the conflict. They're afraid of being judged. They also don't know what to do. Yesterday, I saw about 5 situations where the kid did not listen to the parent, and the parent was frozen. They had absolutely no idea what to do next. Come on, and when we are on, supervised play happens every afternoon, and oftentimes Sandra or I will cover supervised play because the person who normally does it has a doctor's appointment or what have you, and I have to help parents get their kids off the playground. You know what I'm talking about. They'll come up, parents will come up to me and say, do you think that you can tell my kid that he needs to go to the car? You know, and all I have to do is say it, and off they run, and the parent is completely incapable. Of course, I have the authority, right, as a principal, but guess what? You should have that same authority as the child's parent. You should, and if you don't, it's a problem. I hate to say this, because I was one of them. I keep saying that because I don't want to sound like I'm judging you. I'm so not judging you. I'm trying to help you shift now so you don't deal with what I have to deal with later. Because right now, the short-term meltdowns are a piece of cake compared to dealing with what you will deal with if you continually avoid the meltdowns. You will have a child does everyone have an uncle or a brother or a cousin, that uncle who still lives with his parents? In the basement, never could keep a job. Everyone's got one, right? We do not want to raise one of those. If you think you're embarrassed now, imagine the embarrassment of having that brother. Okay, where do they come from? You know, they weren't born that way. Okay, so we have a lot of control. We really do. But the answer is to not do things for our children that they are capable of doing for themselves. After a few weeks in Sandy's class or Jean's class, I have parents who come up to me and said, I had no idea my kid could X. Tie their own shoe, put their own jacket on, open the Tupperware, open their juice. They have no clue of their kids' capabilities because they haven't even gone so far as to find out if their kids can do it. I tell a story about myself. My problem started very early. When I went to the doctor when my kid was 2 months old, and the doctor said to me, as he's getting my kid undressed, "What's that, a bikini on it?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Those are infant diapers." And I said, "They are? What do you mean?" He was like, "You're supposed to change diapers about 4 times now." I was still keeping him a baby. I didn't notice that he was growing up. And that's what happens. A lot of you are using old maps for new territories. I went to my sister's house recently and she still had baby toys and her kid was 18 months old. And she was still playing with the rattle. Because we we finally get it and we think time freezes. Does this make any sense?
I think also that it's important that you understand we as teachers are constantly doing this as well. We're learning just like you're learning as parents.
True.
I had a student come to me today with a Go-Gurt, and she said, "Can you help me open this?" I said, "Well, let's take a look at it." So I said, "Okay, what does it say here?" It says, "Tear here." I said, "Okay, so can you try that?" So she tried, and I said, let me see. I mean, she tried, so I thought, and I know how these can be. So I said, "Let me try." "Oh, yeah, that's a little tough." I said, but there is a hole here, and I stuck not knowing what I was doing, stuck my finger through the hole, and I said, when I stuck my finger through the hole, it tore. So now, next time, you just go to that hole and pull. So together, we problem solved, and we're able, and she's, again, it's building that tool bag, so she now knows, yes, it was Ronnie. We learned together.
So we have a quiz for you. Please try to think of your answer, not as what would be the right answer, yes, I heard all this, but what you would have said. Because it'll show you where you might be taking a path that would be better to take a different path. Okay, Suzanne, you read.
Multiple choice. Are you a helicopter parent? The teacher calls to tell me my child has been disruptive in class. A, tell the teacher she must have it all wrong. My child is an angel. B, ask the teacher for insight into what might be causing the behavior. When I get off the phone, I talk with my child about it, then I make an appointment to talk to the guidance counselor about next steps. Or C, tell my child to just behave for goodness sake. How hard could it be? That's the answer. Okay. Are you going to take a vote?
Sure. A, raise your hand if you think it's A. Tell the teacher she must have it all wrong. My child would never do that. She's an angel. Okay. B, ask the teacher for insight into what could be causing the behavior, and then pick up the phone and call the guidance counselor. I think that's a little bit on the over-parenting side, to tell you the truth, especially if it's the first one. However, that was the best answer. You're always supposed to pick the best answer. Okay. Keep reading your answer.
Okay. When my child brings home a poor grade, A, run directly to the phone to call the teacher. If she doesn't answer, I call the principal. B, talk with my child about the grade and contact the teacher to discuss ways we can help my child improve her academic performance. Or C, yell and scream at my child and tell her that if she doesn't bring up her grade, she'll be grounded. Okay, number 3. My child forgot his math book at school again. I sigh and drive him to school to get it. What choice do I have? If I don't, he'll get a 0 for not turning in his homework assignment. B, let him deal with the consequences and remind him that the last time this happened, I told him I wouldn't drive him to get the book if he left it behind again. C, tell him he's hopeless and will probably end up failing the class.
Okay, can I just say something about
I would say A. I would take my kid, is that wrong, to take your kid back and get the mail? I mean, we all forget things. We're human. Monkeys fall from trees sometimes also.
It depends on, this is like again, in A it said, go back again, like for the next time, left it behind again. So it depends how many times it's happening.
So it's the child owning the problem and asking, what are you going to do about it? Problem solving. And obviously depending on the age as well, but call a friend. I know kids fax, that friends will copy it for them and fax it to them. So the problem solved that way.
If they want to get out of that consequence of the 0. But then again, the consequence of the 0 is also an affordable consequence.
Okay, so I'm going to read you from this book, The Gift of Failure by Jessica Leahy. She, at some point in her life, like me, discovered she was doing it all wrong and then fixed it and wrote a book about it. Okay, that's where I always go wrong. No books here. Okay. So, after 2 weeks of this new reparenting, her son had just headed off for the school bus, and she noticed that his math and spelling homework were lying out on the living room table. I looked out the window at the bus stop, and there he was, oblivious to his oversight, twirling his hands in the air while explaining some detail to an imaginary friend of his, Pierce. I looked back down at the homework, I looked back out at the window. Bus still hadn't come. And then I did my best to get on with my day, knowing that I was scheduled to stop by the school later, and it would be so easy to deliver Spin's homework to his classroom, maybe even surreptitiously slide it into his locker or backpack. He'd done such a good job on it too, so conscientiously completing it in the neatest handwriting, effort now wasted. I picked it up off the table, looked at the neat letters and the numbers, and put it down again. Flummoxed, I turned to Facebook and posted. Why she posted on Facebook is beyond me. I don't do Facebook. All right. For those of you who think this whole letting my kids mess up thing is easy, know this. One of my sons left his homework assignment on the living room table completely in a timely and neat fashion. It had been done the night before. I have to go to his school anyway to drop something off. Leaving that homework on the table, knowing it will cost him his recess today, is killing me, in capital letters. I've looked at it 20 times and even picked it up once, but there it is, and there it will stay, waiting for him to see it when he gets home and realizes what he could have done to make sure that the homework made it into his backpack and his teacher's hands. Facebook friends began responding immediately, many with their pledges of support and enthusiastic approval. I even got plenty of likes. One friend wrote this: Jessica, I admire you greatly, as I hope you know, but I could not do this. I forget things every day. Monkeys fall from trees. No, it doesn't say that. I have driven things to my husband's office that he had left on the kitchen counter. I think a certain level of distraction is inevitable in our lives, no matter how hard we try, and high school kids are the most overwhelmed of all of us. I would be so happy that the homework was done and on time and neat that I would immediately bring it to the school. What's it going to take from you? I would save those consequences for homework for another day for a job not so well done. Okay, so Jessica's response. I thought about her words for the rest of the morning. I had to admit that yes, I would have gone to deliver my friend's wallet or my husband's power cord if he had forgotten it. So why am I treating my friends differently? This is the key part. Because I'm not raising those other people. I treat my children differently because I have a greater responsibility to them to make them happy and grateful for my love and support. In order to raise competent, capable adults, I have to love them enough to put their learning before my happiness. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That pretty much says it all, you can all read that. Just kidding. No, but that is, I don't know that I can do that. I'm being honest.
But I think that one of the most, part that stuck out to me the most was when she wrote, "It's killing me. I can't deal with those feelings." So I think a lot of times we go to save our kids because it's about the way that we feel. We don't want to sit with those feelings knowing that our kid has to face that consequence. So step back for a second and just think, is this about me? Because I don't want my kid to go through that. It helps.
Yes.
I think that it also depends what kind of child you're dealing with. If you have a child that does his homework every day and doesn't forget, but once in a while, it happens, then I personally would do it. But if you're dealing with a kid who does it all the time, but once again, if they do it all the time and it doesn't work anyway, so what do you do in that situation?
But what's the incentive for a kid to try to remember to put it in his backpack if he knows even if I leave it, mom's going to take it for me? There's no incentive to develop that strategy of as soon as I finish, I have to put it in my folder, and then I have to put the folder in my backpack and put the backpack right by the front of the door. That's what you want your kid to internalize. So that's a life skill, to not forget something the next day. I bring things into the car in the garage so that I don't forget.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, because I'm so nervous about forgetting the next day. So that's a strategy. A strategy in life isn't my mom will bring it to me because mom's not going to always be there.
But I honestly don't think it's gonna work for every child once again. Like, I'm the oldest of 4, and I was also very, very responsible.
I'm sure
never
you were.
forget anything.
The oldest usually are.
My sister, second, she would forget everything, but my mom would never bring it to her because she has other, younger
Right,
kids.
she had other things to do.
So she never learned that. She would always forget it.
That's
So-
interesting.
And I never did. Same parenting skills. I just think it's also
It's always
personality.
needed.
It's
Yes.
very different for every child. So you can't just say it's going to work for everybody.
Nothing works for
It's not
everybody. If that were the case, there'd be one book, not millions.
Exactly. No one's a total expert when it comes to kids.
I was just gonna say, because I used to work a lot with students, and I would work with my special ed students on organizational skills, and this works for any kid, but there's always something like slightly different, but so much of success is routine and repetition and keeping going, that for your sister, no one just took the time to find what worked for her. Like, I'm visual, some people need it in front of them. Some people it's having the list that you cross off. Something, like there's something, so just because Dr. Roth might say try this and that doesn't work perfectly for your kid, that doesn't mean that they can't do it on their own. There's a different way. Some people are different learning styles. So, every kid can be, I used to teach cursive and I've had parents, my kids can't do it, and they could. So you just have to try whatever works. And if you run out of ideas, if you called the office, Amanda would be like, here's 4 books that you can look at with different options. Like, they'll help you figure out how to help your kid.
I guess that's what I was trying to say.
Exactly,
Yeah, you just have
exactly.
to-
You have to keep tweaking it until
Yeah.
it comes exactly for what works for you.
Right.
That's what you're trying to say. Sarah wants to say something.
I had a question, if you don't want to address it now, that's
No, we
okay.
did.
I'm curious from your side, how are you going to help? So if we're doing this as parents, how is the school, and I know each teacher will be a little bit different, how are the teachers going to help keep the kids accountable for if their homework doesn't come in? Like, what's the consequence going to be if a kindergartner
In this
comes
school,
in
they
without
didn't get
it?
recess.
Or,
We don't like to take away recess because we know the importance of recess. And even when kids are in high school, we don't tell them, take them off the team because we know how important exercise is. right? So every teacher has a different, a lot of teachers get zeros, for homework. That's a standard, you gotta factor in. But they don't get grades, just so you know, until they're in 4th and 5th grade. So we're talking about much older kids, and you have one. But a lot of teachers give a 0 for a homework, and if they have 100 homeworks, what does the 0 really matter if it's one time?
In 2nd grade, we have a conversation once we get into homework about occasionally each one of us has something that comes up and we're not able to get our homework done like we'd like to the night that we are given that homework, if it's due the next day. That's understandable. If it's a repeated kind of event, then I have a conversation with the child and ask if in fact we need to get mom and dad involved as well so that we can develop a plan together to make sure that the homework does get done and in fact happens.
See, homework is a total, I don't know whether you want to go down this because your kids are so young. It's a totally different beast. Because homework, I'm going to undo everything I say when I say it's really a lot about the parents. Because the parents have to teach the routines. The kids who don't get their homework in, or usually have parents that aren't around to teach the structure and routines that are necessary. I say kids should be completely perfect at getting their homework in by 8th grade, because that takes a long time to really internalize. It's a lot of steps of self-motivation, doing things that you don't maybe understand yet, not having the teacher. There's a lot that goes on. We have a homework cafe down here. So you're pretty lucky that kids can get help with their homework at the homework cafe.
Question for you guys, in the older grades, are you guys familiar with school loop, and what that is?
Yeah, we have something similar.
And do you send home like school loop does every day, what their grade is, what their?
Yeah, as they get older, we do have that. I don't like it, but we do it.
Because that to me
everyone
is
else
an
does it.
extension of putting the onus on the parents and taking it off the child.
That's starting in middle school. I don't know when you said older, I don't know.
Yeah, I meant that. To me, when I first was introduced to that in the public school system through my stepkids, I thought, this is a horrible,
I think it's
horrible.
terrible.
Totally agree.
We all agree,
It's
but we can't, if we don't do it, we're the school that doesn't do it, nobody would be here.
I think it's horrible.
It's awful.
Because that is sending a
It's
message
taking
that,
responsibility
Yeah.
right out of the hands of the kids.
absolutely, and off the relationship.
So what it does is tell the parent, monitor the student's grades moment by moment, so sometimes a parent knows what the grade is before the student even does. And all schools have it now, and we do too. So our homework is a whole other beast. Why don't you tell me?
Here's a good one. My 2nd grader had to make a diorama featuring a dinosaur for her science project. I, A, find her an empty shoebox, but that's all the help I give. After all, it's her project, not mine. B, let her play outside while I sculpt the dinosaur and paint the background scenery. What was the teacher thinking anyway, assigning such a hard project to a bunch of 7-year-olds? Or C, help my child read over the instructions from the teacher, take her to the library and the craft store for resources and materials, help her get organized, and provide technical support. Which is the right one.
You know, what's really a good thing for you to remember is that teachers don't assign things to students that students aren't capable of doing. And I've been the first one to say, I can't believe they're asking kids to do this. You know, but they don't assign things that are over the kid's head. Why would they do that? They don't want to see the parents work. So that's a good rule of thumb. True. Do you assign things that are too hard for kids?
At parent-teacher conferences, A, usually don't bother going. They never tell me anything I don't really know. B, prepare a list of questions ahead of time to make the best use of my time with the teacher. C, book the last appointment of the day so that I can take as much time as I want.
I'm not even saying that.
I would say
The last appointment's taken. Oh, we didn't say what the right one was. I don't like any of them. I don't like the idea of preparing a list of questions because I think you won't be in the present. And it's really important to be in the present. Laura? You gotta go. So they gotta, everyone's gotta go. Yes, I do. I want everybody, she's reminding me, I want everyone to make one, for everything we heard today, one thing you can do differently as a parent. Write it down, one sentence, one commitment. I will tolerate my kid's meltdown the next time and know that it's his meltdown, not mine. I will remember that my kid is much more capable than I think he is. I'm going to give my kid a chore. I'm giving you the answers now. See what I do?
You want to pass them back here, Laura? And I'll pass them out.
Thank you.
Pass them. We have-
Thank you. I'm gonna get her
Sorry, it's warm heart. Just going around. Setting goals, setting goals. I'm gonna turn my recorder off.